Hello, gentle listeners, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. Tyler here, your sports master, your sports knower, your sports knowledge haver, portrayer,
yes, good.
Educator.
Cool, good. Keep going.
I'm here with.
Keep going.
I know sports. I played sports. I'm a fan of sports.
Get closer to the microphone.
I do everything sports you could imagine.
Yeah, he knows everything. He's a master of sport. Keep going.
I know how to hit balls. I know how to put balls in holes. I know how to keep balls out of holes and out of goals.
Exactly. Good. Keep going.
You got an opportunity for me to play a sport. I'm in. I'm down. I'll throw down and show you how.
Excellent. Keep going.
But I'm here with Mark, who keeps telling me to keep going because he doesn't want to talk or something.
You're on a roll. Keep going.
No, I'm done. No more.
Okay, all right.
The game's over. Halftime.
A quitter, I see. A quitter.
I
Today's
ain't no
episode
quitter.
is about most famous quitters in sports history. Number 1, Tyler.
No.
All right.
Today's episode is a one of our primer series.
Oh.
Which, if you guys don't know, our primer series is where we talk about a sport and I teach Mark the ins and outs and how that particular sport works.
Ins and outs. There are innings in baseball and outs in baseball.
Correct. And
all right.
if you couldn't tell by that, today's primer is about baseball.
Yes. I know there are 9 innings.
Yep.
There are 4 bases.
Yes.
There are 4.
You're right.
First, second, third, and home.
Correct.
That's a base.
That's a base.
Is the pitcher's mound a base?
Technically, no.
Is it a secret base? If you charge, is that way they charge the pitcher? If you tag that base,
no,
you win like 3 points. That's a 3-pointer.
No.
Okay. All right. There's a guy on first, second, and third.
Correct.
There's that guy in between second and third.
Correct. What's that position called?
Pass.
Okay. Continue, I guess.
There's
pass.
Outfielders, 3 of them.
Correct.
Left fielder.
Yes.
Left outer fielder.
Which side is left field on?
The left.
Based
It's
on
the
what
left
perspective?
field.
Is it the defender's perspective or is it the offensive
Do you
player's
call them
perspective?
defenders? Is that what they call them?
They're fielders.
Okay,
They're
I'm
technically called
standing
fielders.
on home plate. I'm
Okay.
floating ominously 6 feet above
Okay.
home plate, looking out upon the field left.
Yes,
From
that is
that
correct.
perspective.
That is correct.
Energy is surging through my forehead. Lightning strikes me as I look out upon the field.
I picture, when you're saying this, I just picture Jamie Foxx from The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. That I am
Electricity.
Electro. The pitcher looks at me, and I know his secret that the pitcher base is there. The mythical pitcher base. I shall tag it.
Oh,
anyway,
geez.
and then there's center field. I know
Yep.
that. And then there's right field.
Correct.
And the pitcher.
Yeah.
And the catcher.
Correct.
I win.
All right.
All right, that's the end of our primer. This
No.
has been the baseball primer.
Mark seems to know a lot of the nuances of baseball. We're going to get into more details of that. But there are 9 players on the field at any given time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
9. Pitcher, catcher, first base, second base, third base, shortstop.
Shortstop. Why do they call it the shortstop?
I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
Aha! That master's degree does nothing for you.
We focused on so much more nuance than a
No,
name.
that's as nuanced as it gets. This is the primer. This is where everyone gets basically. This is you boil down your college course on baseball, and we're feeding it to people for free.
The name comes from where it's located. It's require the player to stop the short side of the field and act as a cutoff for the left and center fielders.
The short side of the field?
It's the short side of the field because it's away from the majority of where plays take place, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but it's between second base and the third baseman. It's the shortest area because if you think about it, the third baseman's playing in a bit on that direction. I don't know why it's called the shortstop because they do the same thing with second base and first base.
Maybe there was a field like way back in the Stone Age of baseball, when you had your cave baseball players playing outside of the cave, Oh?
Why it's called a shortstop in baseball. A player by the name of Doc Adams created the position. He played for the New York Knickerbockers. Yes, Knickerbockers.
Okay.
In 1859.
Like old term for pants.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Traditionally, 8 players would play on baseball field, 1 player at each base, 3 outfielders, and a catcher and pitcher. Catcher and pitcher.
That's different. That's how they used to say pitcher.
Due to the high number of right-handed hitters, the large gap between third and second base was massive, so he decided to vacate his outfield position and move closer to what we now know as the shortstop position.
So there used to be 2 people in the left field?
No, there used to not be that position at all. It used to be 8 players. So just be your first, second, and third baseman, and then 3 outfielders. Okay. So because there was constantly people were hitting into that gap between third and second base, because right-handed hitters will predominantly pull the ball in the direction that they're hitting.
Well, that just sounds like they should have done a strategic move with the center fielder and had him, like, he was closer and he could play either. It just sounds like someone complained a lot and been like, I need another gun. They were so belligerent that they just was like, okay, Ted, you can have it. You can have it.
Well, sports evolves. Sports evolves.
Whatever name they had when they first played baseball, like Greek or something. Orthocrates.
This is an American pastime game. This is an American game.
I'm sure they were hitting balls with sticks way, but what about cricket?
Cricket is like the grandfather to some degree of baseball. Their rules are actually so distinctly different that it's like they're related in the sense of how it's played, but the way that points are accrued versus runs, it's actually quite different.
What about Blurns ball?
I've never heard of that. Are you making it up?
No, I am not. And people listening at home can attest that I am not making that up. It will be invented in the year 2800 and something. But it's real. Well, Blurns ball, I didn't make that up. The what?
I think you did.
No, I didn't. You can look up Blurns ball. Look up BLURNSBALL. Blurns ball. Yeah.
You took it from something in the future that was invented.
Exactly.
As a part of a show.
Uh-huh.
In Futurama.
Yes. Where's the mistake I made? Nowhere. Thank you. I'll take my points.
It doesn't exist. Outside of a show.
Okay, fine. We'll save that for the fictional game episode.
So for baseball, we're going to focus on Major League Baseball, which is predominantly known even across the world.
Is there different baseball?
College baseball has slightly different rules.
Why does college always have slightly different rules?
Well, it has to do with like the learning curve and various stuff along those lines. It's distinctly the same. The difference is in college ball, they all play basically by the American League rules where you have a designated hitter instead of forcing the pitcher to hit.
You talked about this before, the whole concept of a
it was in our episodes that never got aired. It was when we were learning the concept of building this.
Right.
Which, Will, you can go back and grab some of that right now if you want.
No, delete it, purge it out of existence. Because clearly I've already forgotten if we talked about baseball at all. I don't remember anything.
It was briefly. It wasn't a real long thing. So there are 2 divisions in baseball.
Okay.
I don't know if they're called divisions.
It's major and minor,
conferences.
Right?
There's 2 conferences. No, major and minor is a different thing.
What is that thing?
Because there's minor leagues that are the minor league players. They're not playing on the major league teams. They're like the farm program.
The farm program?
Yeah. So
they take a player out to the farm and you hear the cocking of a shotgun.
No.
Don't worry, you're going to play baseball, Big Billy.
The way baseball works is when you draft a player, they're not immediately on your roster unless you want them on your major league roster. So you have minor league teams that basically allow you to have seasons and training to then farm players to the point to where they get to a point to where their skill level is where you're like, okay, he can play in the majors now.
If you put a baseball in the ground and you water it, will a baseball player pop out of the... You didn't let me finish. You didn't let me finish.
I don't need to let you finish. I know where you're going.
Will a baseball player pop out of the ground?
No.
What if you put a baseball player below the baseball and then put a baseball on top of him and bury him?
I would hope he'd get out of the ground, otherwise he'd have a dead person on the ground. It's not a plant a baseball and a baseball player will come. This is not Field of Dreams, plant a baseball farm. Field of Dreams is actually.
Is that what Field of Dreams was about?
It's if you build it, he will come.
He?
Yeah, that's the actual quote. The Mandela effect is the part where they will come, because the whole story of Field of Dreams is basically it's a son who has a farm.
Isn't it the Mandela effect, or is that a Mandela? What? Mandela?
Mandela. I don't remember how it's said. There's a person with a name that's very similar to it, and I might have put their name in there instead of the actual effect.
The effect is spreading.
But the story is about this farmer who basically... Why am I talking about this?
I don't know. This is the baseball primer.
Field of Dreams is an iconic baseball movie.
Okay, understood.
But there are 2
conferences
in Major League Baseball. You have the AL, the American League, and the NL, which is the National League. The distinction between American League and National League is the American League has designated hitters, so their pitchers don't have to hit. They don't have to come up to the plate with a bat and try and hit.
Okay.
They have Big Hits McGee or something like that, a big, strong guy who doesn't need to play a fielding position, who just hits the ball. Yeah. That's why you called him Big Hits McGee back before. It's like he's just designated as
When did we talk
hitter.
about that?
I
don't remember that
it's
at all.
in the previous episode. We'll put it in.
Is it a previous episode?
It's not. No, it's not an episode. Previous recording.
Wow. My memory's bad.
A pitcher doesn't get batting practice because they're pitching batting practice. So they instead want to put a power hitter there that can't field necessarily in that spot for the pitcher without having to switch out pitchers.
This guy literally only hits balls.
Correct.
There's a guy in baseball in the American League.
Correct.
That just is ball hit.
Yeah,
and
he's just a batter.
There's ball throw man.
Yes.
Ball throw man, ball hit man. So where does this guy stay? Does he
He
like
sits in the dugout when they're on defense and he
come out of the ground like right by the batter base thing?
No, but that would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. Like, okay, I don't think that's cool in that like designated hitter, like, oh, this is Hitty McGee. All he do is hit balls day in, day out, which I imagine is exactly what Hitty McGee do. But also Pitchy McGee over there, all he do is throw balls day in, day out. Like, it's kind of stupid, right? All the other guys have to do double the job. But, pitchers, his throwing arm's too precious. He can't possibly hit. He's not good enough. Well, get good. Practice double as hard. So, like, what is this Pitchy McGee doing? Is it like, what was it? Like, originally it was some pitcher being like, well, I'm not as good, but these guys can't throw. So, if everyone should bat, everyone should throw. Make them all rotate out their positions. It's like musical chairs, but for baseball. Pick a base.
That could actually work because there's 9 players and 9 innings in a regular baseball game.
Yes, exactly. Let's mix this shit up. You want more hits? Get the guy bad at hitting and bad at pitching together, and boom! You got home runs left and right. Maybe it would be interesting, though. If everyone had to do every job, at some point in the game, you would have well-rounded players that understand the plight of the people in the outfield. And then those lonely sons of bitches who are 400 or so odd feet out into the whatever get to have friends up in the front.
Yeah. All right. So the American League has a designated hitter who does not need to play a fielding position on defense that is literally just hits the ball.
Okay.
Usually they're able to play a fielding position because when the NL and AL play each other, they play by the home team's rules. This is important in the World Series.
Okay.
Because each conference has one team get to the World Series to represent their team.
Okay.
And whoever's home stadium they're in, they play by that league's rules.
Okay, so then by that logic, there still wouldn't be a designated hitter because the team that plays by the rules of having a designated hitter, when they play over there, the pitcher has to hit, right?
Correct, but more often than not, they don't play each other.
But they still have to learn to hit. So in effect...
Well, they have to learn to field because they already know how to hit. They're just a hitter.
But the pitcher, I'm talking about like the pitcher has to learn to hit anyway. So no matter what, those positions don't exist. It's like Schrodinger's pitcher. Schrodinger's hitter. They have to hit anyway, so they have to learn to hit to be good enough to hit anyway. So it's, in effect, they just get a break every now and then, but they still have to do it.
It's not every now and again because the majority of the season is they're playing by their own rules in the American League.
Oh, it's only in the big game.
Yeah, it's only once they get to the World Series or when they have interconference play, which is a small portion of the season where they play each other.
Okay, so they still have to hit. It's Schrodinger's hit.
Sure. We're going to go with Schrodinger's hit, which baseball is a very unique sport in the fact that they play 162 games in a season.
Good God.
Yeah.
That's like every day.
162 games in a season, yeah.
Why?
Because each team is made up of more than 9 players. Their roster in and of itself is 26 players big. So you have 9 players who field at any given time. You can't have a 10th player suddenly play on the field, but you switch out. Like players will switch out throughout the term of a game. Like a starting pitcher on average pitches about 5.5, 6 innings.
Okay.
So that's the pitcher you start the game with.
Do they get tired? Do they need a nap?
Well, yeah, if you're throwing a ball 100 plus miles per hour and throwing curveballs and changeups and stuff like that, your arm gets fatigued and it can cause injury, which is why they have pitch counts that count the number of pitches they throw.
Sounds like
and
they
at that
need
point
to
they tend
get
to switch
tougher arms.
Well, back in the day, they used to all pitch the full game. It was they usually didn't.
Did they get like tired toward the end? So that's why at the end of games,
a lot more
hits happen.
Hits happen, possibly. Yeah. So in today's day and age of baseball, a lot of times the pitcher only goes about 6 innings. The starting pitcher, and then they bring in a setup man. There's different designations of long relief. The closer is the final inning.
Ooh.
There's
a person just for that?
Yeah, usually.
Why?
The 8th inning is called the setup man. The 9th inning is called the closer, and he only pitches the 1 inning usually.
Is he good?
This is modern baseball. It's real weird how they do that. But so there's 3 designations that come out of the bullpen. These are where all your backup pitchers are because they'll warm up during the game in the bullpen. It's a part in the field where you have your backup catcher and your backup pitcher, and they warm up before they come in.
Right.
So then you don't have them coming out on the field and warming up because the starting pitcher will warm up on the mound of the actual field before the game.
Okay, where the secret 5th base is.
Sure.
You keep
There's
saying
no
that.
5th base.
You keep saying that. The legends are
It's
true.
called the pitching rubber.
No. What?
That's literally what it's called. It's called the pitching rubber.
Why is it called that?
Because it's the contact you have to maintain when you throw a pitch from the base, and it's just a strip of rubber that you push off of.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You have to have a foot on it?
Correct. So
it is a base, because that's what they have to do for bases.
So here's the thing. In order for a pitcher, say a runner's on base, on first base, and you want to pick him off, like he's taking the lead off to try and steal second. Okay. Which is when he moves a few shuffles away from the base. But the audience might not.
Okay, you're right. Okay, you're right.
So the base runner who gets on base after they make a hit or a walk or whatever, which we'll get into later, gets on base and they lead off to try and steal second as the pitch gets thrown to the catcher.
Okay.
So they can run to second and get there before the ball gets there.
You lost me. Can you make it a little simpler language?
Runner on base.
Okay.
Pitcher on rubber.
Okay.
Pitcher step off rubber can throw first.
Why?
Because he stepped off.
So he no pitch.
He no pitch.
He no go pitch.
He throw first.
Trick possible?
It's pick-off move.
When decide do?
Whenever they want. But if pitcher on rubber and pitcher show motion towards home plate and throw first, balk, runner advance.
Balk?
Yeah.
Never heard of a balk.
It's where a pitcher misleads the base runner into thinking that they're going home and they throw somewhere else instead. The runner gets a free advance in that space.
What if I'm the pitcher?
Okay.
There's a guy on first.
Okay.
And he's, what'd you call, edging? He's not edging.
Leading off.
Leading off. He's leading off towards second. And he's shuffling. He's doing a little dance. Really wide squat. He's basically doing the splits in between first and second. What if, like, my foot's on, both my feet are on the rubber. And what if I do a quick hop and shuffle and, like, split my legs, and then chuck to first? Is that okay?
That's a lot.
What if I hop in the air and chuck it?
As long as you've not showed that you were throwing home, you are able to throw the first.
What if I do a sweep front flip and throw it while I'm upside down? But I was facing home, but I twist in midair and throw it first.
I am unclear if that would be a balk or if it would be allowed.
All right, we'll have to try it. For all of you baseball pitching professionals listening to this, please try that in the next game.
All right, so let's get back to the basic of the game.
We are in the basics of the game.
So the start of the game, you have your 9 fielders. You have your pitcher, your catcher, your first baseman, your second baseman, your shortstop, your third baseman, your left fielder, your right fielder, and your center fielder.
Okay.
So you have your 9 players there.
And you have your 1 hitter, your 2 hitter, your 3 hitter.
So you have a lineup of 9 players who are all on the field, unless you're in the American League where the pitcher's not on there and the designated hitter's in, which they can technically use the designated hitter for any position, but more often than not, it's the pitcher.
Okay.
The leadoff batter is what's called the first batter in the lineup, comes up to the plate. All right. And the pitcher will throw the ball and it has to go over the plate and within a zone between your knees and your nipples. That's literally the strike zone.
Wow.
Your knees and your nips. That's the strike zone.
Is that why umpires can get bad calls? Because they know that particular player's nipples are like up at shoulder height?
It's a relative.
They get a picture of everyone on the team before the game starts and they spread it like a scroll and they're like, aha, high tits, big hitter McGillicuddy.
No.
And his knees are like down by his calves. He's just tried to hide it with long pants. But you can't hide that from the umpire. They know.
And that's based on standing position. So if you crouch down and try and make that small, it doesn't count. It's based on your standing position. It's always that zone.
Oh. So it's based on the posture of that particular person, because if someone's posture, so they got like their back is arched and their tips are to the sky.
It's a relative term. In Major League Baseball, they have a designated strike zone that's not predicated on every single
You tell
player.
me that that's literally what it is. I'm going to take your word for it.
That's the way it has always been described to me.
Okay.
Is the strike zone.
Okay.
But there's an area in that area, which is an area within that area.
What defines the width, though?
The plate, the home plate.
Oh, okay.
So the home plate's width is the width, and then the zone in between there is basically just the height.
Right.
So we're looking at what is considered the most prominent hitting area, and it's called the strike zone.
Okay.
And if the ball passes you and you don't hit it as the batter, it's a strike.
Strike.
If you hit it into the field of play, you better be running to first base to try and get on base before they throw it to first or before they catch it. If it's caught in the air on a fly, it's an out. You are out. You don't reach base.
Gotcha.
If it's a grounder and they throw it to first and they tag the bag with the ball before you get there, that's an out.
I'm going to need a slow.
Pitch throw. Batter hit. Infield.
Infield.
Player pick up.
Okay.
Throw first.
Throw first.
There before you.
Okay.
You out.
Okay.
Player hit ball. On ground. Player pick up ball. Throw first. Miss completely.
Okay.
You safe.
All right.
Player hit ball in air. Player catch. Out.
Out. Okay. Wow. You're getting better at those dumbed down explanations. You're getting real good at that.
But the other way you can get out is if you strike out. If a pitcher throws the ball past you three times and the catcher catches it all 3 times, you strike out.
Gotcha.
If the catcher doesn't catch the third strike and it drops to the ground, you have an opportunity to run to first. The catcher has to either tag you or throw it to first to get you out. That's why sometimes you'll see a catcher in Major League Baseball realize they dropped the third strike and they'll scramble, pick it up, and then just touch the player so that they're out.
Interesting. But, okay, wouldn't it be easier for the catcher to say, oopsie poopsie, I dropped it, and then throw to first quickly?
Not always. In Major League Baseball, they don't always run. But it basically, in order for the completion of the play, and this is in traditional baseball rules, the ball has to be caught.
Okay.
And the reason for that, it's the same thing for if you're thrown to first, the first baseman has to have the ball in the glove. So for a completed out, by definition, the ball has to be completed in somebody's glove.
Okay.
Or in somebody's hand. So if it hits the ground, it's on the ground on the third strike. That's why they have to scramble, pick it up, and then tag the person out or throw it to first.
Right. Okay.
And often it's easier to tag them if they're not trying to run.
Okay.
If they start running and the catcher can't just immediately reach them, they'll just throw it to first.
Understood.
But it just gives the batter that extra opportunity to maybe make it to first on a play.
Okay.
There's a whole, last year, there was a whole uproar about this rule because somebody lost a perfect game as a pitcher, which means you have nobody reach base whatsoever. And you pitch the full game, all 9 innings. So no runs allowed, nobody has reached base, and no score. So they get 0 runs, 0 men on base, 0 hits, 0 walks. That's a perfect game. If you completely blank the other team, it's a perfect game in all statistical categories.
So someone lost that? How?
They lost their shot at a perfect game because of the third strike rule, where the catcher dropped the ball and they missed the first base, and the guy reached base, which then ruined the perfect game. And there are a bunch of people that are upset about that rule because it's like they think it's dumb. I think it's fair. I think it should stay.
The catcher dropped the ball.
Exactly.
It's his job to catch.
He didn't make the throw.
It's like those kind of qualifications, or not qualifications, but like exceptions. I see how the shortstop became a thing because people complained and it happened, and then the you have to touch the rubber thing before you throw because you were looking like you were throwing a home base. They changed. They made an exception. So I could see this leading to another exception. The catcher's job is to catch. I don't even know baseball, but I know a catcher. He's called a catcher. If he don't catch, he didn't catch.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
So the pitcher has basically there are 3 strikes and 4 balls.
Yeah.
If they throw 4 balls, which means they're not in the strike zone, and the batter doesn't swing, because if you swing at a ball outside the strike zone and you miss, it's a strike.
Okay.
But if
Which
you don't
is weird because it's called a strike, but you didn't strike.
Well, it's not within the strike zone, but you swung, which means it's like you missed.
I'm just talking about
punished for
strikes in
missing.
general. The name strike strikes me as odd.
Oh. Well, think about it as like striking a name out, striking letters, striking words. That's why
language is dumb.
Anyway, you're right. It's all invented. But so you have 3 strikes until you're out, or 4 balls for a walk. Foul balls, which if you hit the ball and it doesn't go within the field of play, it's outside the lines. It's called a foul ball. If you already have 2 strikes on you, it doesn't add a 3rd strike.
Okay.
But if you have 0 strikes on you, it adds a strike. If you have 1 strike on you, it adds the 2nd strike.
Cool. Now I have an incredibly important question that I've I've wondered the entire time I've ever seen baseball on the TV, and this has like plagued me for literally all my life.
Okay.
So this is a very important question.
Yeah.
And I want you to really think about the answer because I've tried to puzzle it out and I've never been able to figure it out.
Okay.
Is the strike on the left when it's the numbers? Is the strike on the left or is the strike on the right? Because I can't figure it out and I've looked so hard and I can't understand which one is the strike and which one's the ball. Tyler, do you not know?
I know the answer. I know the answer.
I really don't know. I honestly, truly have no idea.
It's balls and then strikes.
Balls are on the left?
Yeah.
Why? That doesn't make any sense. That's what because I keep looking at it like, obviously strikes would be on the left. Why is balls on the left?
I don't know why they designated that way, but that's how you get into a 3-2 count, which is called a full count. An 0-2 pitch is no balls, 2 strikes.
It doesn't make any sense. My brain doesn't want that to be true.
To be fair, the way that I remember is because of umpiring. It flows off your tongue better. So when you say balls and then strikes instead of strikes and then balls, it's like 3 balls, no strikes.
3 balls, no strikes. 3 strikes, no balls. Well, it's just as easy either way.
It's just in my head. It's balls and then strikes. It just. Then again, it's ingrained. I played baseball.
Maybe that's why if there's no balls, the catcher could be like, no balls, no balls, no balls, no balls.
But it's balls and then strikes.
Okay, that's
so an 0-2 pitch, which is a pitch when the count is 0 balls, 2 strikes, is a pitch that could strike him out.
Okay, gotcha.
So
all right, I feel like we've covered 1% of baseball. Home base, isn't that like it's like a pentagon or something like that, right?
It's a triangle added to a square. I don't even know what to call that.
It's a pentagon, 5 sides. Pentagon is 5 sides. It doesn't have to be. It's not a symmetrical pentagon, but it's a pentagon, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up. Is it called? It's a house. It looks like a house.
It looks like a house. Yes.
Wait, hang on. Does it? Is that just my brain filling it in like a child's drawing of a house? It is. It's home. It looks like home. Especially when you're running towards it from third base, you'd be looking at it with the pointy end of the tip.
Oh my
home
God.
base.
Well, the point points towards the catcher, so it's like the arrow. It tells the pitcher where to throw the ball.
Oh yeah, because the pitcher wouldn't know otherwise. Right. Okay. All right.
Anyway, speaking of the bases, the 4 bases, not the pitcher's rubber, are 90 feet apart. All right. So 90 feet from home plate to first base, 90 feet between first base and second base, 90 feet from second to third, and then third to home. So it creates a square that's 90 feet along the edges.
Okay, hold on. 90 squared plus 90 squared. Okay. And then square root of that. Oh, what was that number? Divide that by 2. Okay, so that means it's 63.64 feet from first base or third base or second base to the mythical 5th base on the pitcher's mound.
No, the pitcher's mound is 60 feet and 6 inches from home plate.
I am technically 60 feet and 6 inches?
Yeah, 60 feet, 6 inches from home plate. That's where the pitcher's mound is.
Okay, you said that home plate to first place was 90
It's not
correct?
perfectly in the center. The pitcher's mound is not perfectly in the center.
Oh, well, that's dumb. You said there was a nice symmetry in baseball. This seems like it's asymmetrical all over the place.
It's the pitcher's mound. They need it close enough to have, high velocity, make it hard to hit, but far enough to where people don't die from the ball coming off the bat, which is actually the biggest safety hazard that exists in baseball is when the ball comes rocketing off a bat straight at the pitcher. But it's fine. 60 feet and 6 inches away.
Has anyone ever died from that?
Yes. I don't think anyone in Major League Baseball, but in youth baseball, they added protection. There's a chest protector for pitchers. And the big reason for this is, and this is really the problem, is they use aluminum bats so the ball comes off so much harder than a wooden bat, like in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Granted, kids don't have the same amount of power as the Major League Baseball players, so...
Well, some kids probably don't.
Yeah.
Most kids, maybe. But, there's that one, freak of nature, kindergartner that's 7 feet tall and 400 pounds.
Yeah, the kid that's been held back from school, 10 grades, he's just
an
18-year-old playing with 10-year-olds. Oh, my God. No, but people have gotten hit in the chest from a ball, and it literally hit them and made their heart stop.
Oh, my God.
That's happened in baseball. There's also the times where a ball has come off the bat and hit somebody in the dome.
That happened to my brother. Well, he's alive. I want to clarify.
we were playing like backyard baseball way long ago, and he was pitching, and it wasn't even like it was fast, like we were kids. But like I said, that 7-foot-tall, 400-pound freak of nature wailed that ball, and it went right into my brother's chest. And I remember as a kid, I was like, "Oh my God, he's dead! Oh no!" But he was fine.
That's good.
He was tough. He just like he crumpled, and then he got up, and he was like, "Ow!" And then he kept playing, literally like the comical "ow," and then kept going. No one said anything.
Yeah. So there have been rule changes in baseball for that safety purpose. As far as I'm concerned, the reason like people don't use wood bats in youth sports is because wood bats break. And so the issue with that is the cost, right? And so they created aluminum bats, but then for college they had the regular aluminum bats like they do anywhere else in high school, and then they changed that to make it has to be a specific bat that has dampening in it to have it try and replicate a wooden bat so that it doesn't rocket off like it did when we were kids and people got hit really hard and had injuries and stuff.
Okay, well, that's good rule changes, I suppose. What were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about the distance from. We started with the
right.
distance from the base.
Sorry, I got on a tangent.
So,
I apologize.
You know how in like the NFL they have like the NFL Combine and stuff like that, where they test.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, they
the
test...
Combine, like from Half-Life 2.
No,
what?
They test the athletes like weight and do drills and speed tests, like a 3-cone drill and stuff like that, to see how promising they are before they get drafted. So they test speed, they test strength with like a bench press, they test endurance,
right.
They have them run drills that are position specific, that sort of stuff. You know how this is going to sound really bad, this probably should get cut out, but you know how you go to like a farm show where people are showcasing like their hogs, and there's a hog competition for which one's the meatiest and the strongest and the best for butcher, the prime cut of beef, right?
Yeah.
And then
well,
that
you said
one...
hog and beef. Wait, what is it? What is it, Tyler? Reveal
well,
the
they
truth.
do it for cows too.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where they're like sent in and they do the measurements and everything, and they're picking which is going to be the best cut, the best thing. And then whichever one it is sells for the most, and they slaughter it and pack it up and people eat it.
I think actually what happens is when they do those shows, it's not quite that, because that prime one would be sold for breeding rights, right?
No. That's, I mean, if it was horses, yeah, but not.
They wouldn't? Why wouldn't they? I mean, okay, all right. The whole meat industry is fucked from top to bottom and horrible. But this is like, in traditional practices of animal rearing, would you not take the one that has the best cut, like the best meat, the best musculature, like the best thing, and you would make more of that particular animal? It would seem like a waste otherwise.
Yeah, you would think so, but no, people are selfish, and if they buy it, they
so at
kill
this
it and wanna eat
mythical
it.
compound you're talking about, which is it? Are they slaughtering them and eating them afterwards, or are they setting them up for a breeding program? Which is it? It can only be one.
Neither. They're finding out which one's the best that's going to perform for the team.
It'd
be the best athlete.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, getting off this topic. Don't put this part in there.
No, put it in.
No.
Will, put it in.
Going back to where, anyway, so you know of the 40-yard dash in football.
I do, actually. Yes, I do.
Well, they do a 60-yard dash in baseball, and I ran a really good 60-yard dash this is when I initially hurt my knee. I ran a 60-yard dash, which is the distance it would be from home plate to second base, which is the most common like multi-base hit you hit is a double, because it's only one additional base. Like a single is getting to first, a double is getting to second, a triple's to third, a home run is getting it all the way.
Okay, I understand, because you said it's 60 yards, right?
120 yards is around all
90 feet. Okay, I was
90
like,
feet.
60, yep. 90. Okay, 90 feet, 180. That's 60 yards is 180 feet. Okay, I'm good.
Anyway, the 60-yard dash is the main measurement because it's the most common running distance in baseball. Okay. Because if you're in outfield, like running 60 yards is like the max amount you're going to run for the most part before you run into another fielder that is closer to the play.
Okay.
So when they test players, they do a 60-yard dash. I ran mine in like 6.6 something, which was really fast back in the day. I'm not fast anymore, but I wanted to improve my time, and that's when I hurt my knee as I found a hole in the outfit. Anyway, 60-yard dash is a double. You run a double. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Because it's 90 feet, which is 30 yards between each played. You know it. Why am I explaining?
I'm listening. I haven't said anything. I haven't even interrupted you. Why are you getting mad at me?
Anyway, the game is played 9 innings.
Uh-huh.
All right. There are 3 outs per part of the inning. So each inning has a top and bottom. 9 innings, like top of the first inning.
You okay, man? You need a You all right?
Listen. Game's played in 9 innings. There's 2 halves to each inning, a top and a bottom. The top of an inning is usually the home team, and actually this is always. The home team is fielding the defense. They have all their fielders out. They got the 9 players, they got the pitcher, they got the catcher, they got first, second, third, shortstop, left field, right field, and center field. All right? The home team fields that to start the game, first inning. Every time. Top of every inning, they're on defense.
All right.
And the away team is batting. All right. And then the bottom of the inning, they switch. So then the away team's playing the fielding positions and the home team is batting.
Okay. I'm following.
All right. And then there's 3 outs per each top and bottom.
Isn't there I feel like there's a name for this. It's not an inning. 3 outs per top? What's the word? There's a word, right? They don't call it the half of the inning, do they? What do they call it? What is 1/2 of an inning called? Okay. First half inning? They do call it that? The top half
that's
of
the thing
inning?
that makes the most sense.
That's
Top
horrible.
half, bottom half. Yeah.
This is horrible.
No,
the first half inning is called the top half of the inning. The second half inning, the bottom half. I'm like, I get that, but also.
All right. 3 outs per half of the inning.
Okay.
It's really 3 outs per inning because each team, like, that's how it's usually described. And the reason for that is because each inning is broken into 2 halves. And when you talk about baseball, you talk about only 1/2 of the inning because you're talking about each team.
Yeah.
So each team has to get 3 outs when they're on defense or the inning continues, right?
Okay.
So 9 players bat, 9 players field, and each batting. So the great thing about baseball is like it's both a team sport and kind of an individual sport because when you're up at the plate, there's only one person that goes up, right?
Right.
And it's them versus the pitcher and the catcher in that moment.
Except for the guy in the hole. Wait, no, on deck. Wait.
Well, there's on deck and then in the hole. On deck is
Right,
the next
right.
batter up, and the hole is the batter up after the on deck batter.
Okay, so you got a dude in a hole.
No.
And you got a dude on a deck and the guy batting. But they're not on the field. They're just getting ready.
Well, on deck is technically in the foul territory in a batter's box, which is really a batting circle in Major League Baseball. It's usually a logo that's on the field. Anyway.
Is that the sixth base?
No, Mark, no.
Is the hole like, does it have a tunnel that leads down underneath the pitcher's mound to get to the true fifth base?
No. There's a bullpen where pitchers stay, whereas there's the dugout where the rest of the team is.
Wait, they separate the pitchers from the team?
They're all together as a part of the team, but the bullpen, the pitchers are out in the outfield usually, or wherever the bullpen is. Sometimes they're off to the side, but more often than not, they're like out in the outfield. And the catchers are usually out there too, the backup catchers.
Are they picking dandelions out there?
No.
What are they doing?
It's so they warm up, and so they when they're called because they want to switch out pitchers, they have a space to warm up. They're throwing practice throws and doing all of that.
Okay, it's not on the field.
Correct. It's out of the field of play.
All right. You made it sound like they were just like running circles around the outfielders, being like, "You can't catch it," and then skipping rope. Anyway, ignore me.
All right.
Continue.
So there's 3 strikes per out, or if they get tagged out at a base if they hit the ball into the field of play. If the ball goes into foul territory and you have no strikes on you, it counts as a strike. But once you have 2 strikes on you, if you foul the ball off, it doesn't count as a strike. But if you foul tip it, say your bat barely touches the ball and the catcher catches it, you're out.
Okay.
Or if the ball's hit into foul territory and somebody catches it, you're also out.
Okay.
And it has to be caught before it hits the ground. If it's a ground ball where the ball hits straight into the ground and just rolls and goes foul, you can't get an out that way.
All right.
There's 4 balls, so if the pitcher throws the ball outside of the strike zone and the batter doesn't swing, and that happens 4 times within an at-bat, which is when there's 1 batter up to plate, they get to move to first. If the batter gets hit by the ball, as long as they're not putting their body over top of home base into the strike zone, that's a free base.
Okay, so what, and this is actually a serious question. You're going to think I'm being ridiculous, but I'm actually curious. What happens if the batter gets hit so hard they can't get to first base?
They are able to sub in a runner for the injured batter.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if there was like some ceremony. I know there's a lot of like superstitions in baseball. Like,
Oh my
a lot
God.
of, like,
Yeah.
stuff. So and like a lot of like paying respect. So if someone gets hit, hopefully no one's jeering or cheering or anything like that. And I was thinking like maybe if they get knocked unconscious, they get them on a stretcher and just run them around the bases, for the sake of the crowd.
Did you know that in baseball it's frowned upon to like ever touch the spot that you got hit or rub it or act like it hurts?
What?
Like
Why?
it's like toxic masculinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't act like you're hurt. It's like, you got to get up and shake it off, rub some dirt on it without rubbing dirt on it. Like, it's a thing where if you get hit by the ball, you just got to take it like a champ and walk to first base.
All right. So you could have an internal brain bleed and you're just like, I got to rub some dirt in my brain.
Well, they wear helmets, Mark.
Oh, right. Of course they do. Right. Okay. But the pitchers don't.
No, the pitchers don't.
Do the outfielders?
No.
Do the basemen?
No.
Shortstop?
No.
Catcher?
No. Well, yeah. You almost got me.
Which is it?
The catcher wears a whole bunch of protective gear. They've got like a super face mask metal. That's like a hockey mask.
Yeah.
So like the same kind of similar thing to what the hockey goalie wears. Chest pad, like shin guards. They're called shin guards. They're hard plastic, protect your shins and stuff. They wear a cup.
I would hope so.
Yeah, they're decked out. Same with the umpire. The umpire has protection and a chest protector and shin guards and all of that as well.
Right.
Because, I mean, these pitchers are throwing like hundreds of miles an hour, 90s, hundreds when they throw.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like they throw curveball, they throw sliders, they throw knuckleballs. Like,
you know what would help with a umpire making better strike calls? Why don't, because it's a metal mesh in front of them. Mm-hmm. Why don't they put a rectangle on that metal mask in the shape of the strike zone, and they just either step back a little or forward for like the particular batter there. And then he's always got a reference there of what is technically correct.
You're a genius.
Wouldn't that make sense?
Well,
because it's metal wires in front of them, so make one of them a rectangle so he has a rough guide, and they can make custom ones versus like the umpire, depending on like their facial distance, they just do some calculations and they're like, okay, if you stand right here and look at that, and this batter is here, you that would be the strike zone.
I think the concern in that is how big that hole would have to be possibly, and then each umpire, like you look over the shoulder of the catcher usually to try and get as low as possible, trying to get the angles right, and then everybody's face is different. And the distance that sits off their face, location on their face, like it'd have to be completely customized.
Why don't you go even further, make it a hard plastic but with an augmented reality front to it?
I like the idea of the augmented reality. That would be good.
Yeah. And then you could get a camera feed that would have umpire vision, and you would know exactly what he was looking at, and you could tell if he was an idiot or paid off or just like doesn't know how to play baseball.
Or if he blinked.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Do umpires blink? I thought they had their lids surgically removed.
No, they gotta blink.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
Then they'd have a whole other issue because the dust in baseball dries out like your skin. I can't imagine how bad it is for your eyes.
That's why umpires, they burn out after a few games. You gotta like all the baseball. I know they like change out baseballs all the time. So it's like, yeah, I got a new umpire. Chuck him out in the bin and get a new one in there. Cut off his eyelids.
Well, I mean, there's an issue in baseball of people wanting to like review plays and added technology and different stuff like that. That's more a problem in and of itself. So, I mean, running into bringing technology and basically you're slowing down the game, which baseball is already a slow progressing game, which is the number one complaint from viewers, that I don't think it's necessarily something that would be super beneficial to be able to review everything in that capacity.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. It would slow down the game. The game isn't it, like, how long do games last?
A long time.
How long?
A long time. Average Major League Baseball game, 3 hours. An average 9 innings of baseball is 3 hours.
I mean, it's a lot, but yes.
That's longer than movies. There's only
depends
a
on
few
which movie. Did you see the Batman?
I did see the Batman.
That movie was fucking long.
It was good though. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I enjoyed it, but I walked out of that theater exhausted. Like I usually walk out of theaters like super energized, pumped up. Oh yeah, I got a creative motivation, like inspiration, whatever. I was tired after that one.
According to Major League Baseball Commissioner, the 2021 regular season game averaged 3 hours, 10 minutes, and 7 seconds.
I mean, if you go there to hang out, I guess. I've been to like 2 baseball games in my life, and we've never stayed the whole time. I remember specifically leaving early.
Yeah. So there are sports that I like to fall asleep to, and baseball's kind of one of them. If you put it on the TV, it's like golf. It just kind of lulls you to sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's also sometimes there's really exciting games. But I love going to a ballpark and going to a baseball game because there's so much like nuance to do. And it's like another reason to gather, but it's like beer. They've got all kinds of food. They've got like games and different stuff you can do around like the edges of the outfield and various stuff. I don't know. It's like an experience. It's like if you go to like a carnival or something like that, like going to a baseball game has that kind of feel.
That's cool.
So, and I'm a big baseball guy because I love stats. I love paying attention to that stuff. Baseball was probably the sport I was the best at of all the sports I've played. I used to be a pitcher and an outfielder. I played first base. I also caught, even though I'm a lefty in baseball. So, but I love baseball as much as like it gets looked down upon as far as the entertainment side of things. Like baseball has a learning curve, and it's something a lot of people find boring because it's slow moving. It is a rather slow moving game. It's not the most high scoring game, but like the odds of hitting a home run and when it happens is just tremendous because you have various pitching things that can happen, whether it's a fastball, curveball, all of the different choices they have, and then the velocity and the amount of power you have to hit the ball, and you have to hit it right on the button of the bat. Like if it hits like short, it's not going to get the same bounce. It's going to kind of deflect off and be like a little ground ball, whatever. But you have to hit it on the right spot at the right moment with the right velocity and just knock it out of the park. Like the angles, everything has to just fit together. And personally, I don't like the current way baseball's played, which is like a home run or nothing, which is entertainment, right? Everybody loves seeing the home run. But really, you go back to like the big red machine days, which by the way, we grew up in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati Reds are the first Major League Baseball franchise ever. We grew up where professional baseball started.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Suck it, everyone else. Ha ha.
Just before we were born, or even when we were little kids, was like the Pete Rose era, the big red machine with some of the best players to ever play the game. And the greatest thing about that, and this is the part where like baseball's lost its touch in my opinion, is like they could go up and they would just choose whether they wanted to foul the ball off or hit it into fair play. They were so good at being able to just, I don't like that pitch, I'm going to foul it off. And it was just a team mentality. It wasn't necessarily about home runs. Yeah, they had home run hitters and Johnny Bench and a bunch of other players that would often hit home runs. But the real nitty gritty of it was they were able to just hit the ball into play and just keep scoring because they'd get a person on first, a person on second, then a person would hit a single, the second person on second would score, the person on first would end up on third, you know, and they would just have this crazy run of tremendous scoring all at once. And that to me is more exciting than watching somebody hit a solo home run where they just hit it out of the park and then walk around the bases.
Okay, that's fair. I definitely understand that.
And so that's what I think's lacking in baseball now, is that ability to just hit it and make a play and in series and in sequence, which is what is required of it. Like, it's so individual because you step to the plate by yourself against the pitcher and the catcher, really. You got to hit the ball into play away from defenders, which there are 9 of, including the pitcher and the catcher. And then once you reach base, the person behind you then also has to do well individually to hit the ball to then allow you to advance bases to score, unless you're so tremendously good you can steal every base, which nobody is. Even like the best base stealers in baseball now, like stealing second base is still like very difficult to do, and they don't do it every time. So, like, it requires a series of spectacular moments of beating the odds in a row to score 1 run.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to process literally everything you threw at me because, like, there's a lot of information all at once. But yeah, I agree. Baseball strategy could come back and be good again when you hit the ball where you want to hit it, when you want to hit it, to make play bigger than it was small. You're welcome, everybody at home. I'm here to dumb it down for you.
Where were we?
Teaching me about baseball.
Okay. So you have your 9 players.
Sure.
They play defensive positions between pitcher, catcher, infield, outfield. Then you have your 9-player lineup, which is your batting order. And so the only way that you score runs is if a single player gets around all the bases and back to home plate.
Okay.
And that's how a run is scored.
Right.
And obviously, there are numerous ways to get on base. You can hit the ball. A single is if you hit the ball in play and get to first base. A double is if you hit the ball into play and get to second base. Triple is the same thing for third. A home run is you either hit it out of the park or there's an inside the park home run where you hit it in play, it stays in the park, and you make it around all 4 bases.
Oh.
You can get hit by the ball.
That counts?
If you get hit by the ball, as long as you're not stepping in front of it or into the strike zone or over the plate.
Oh, right. That gets you on. I was thinking you were talking about like the hitter hits the ball and hits your teammate on second base.
Oh, if
he's
it hits,
out.
Correct. He is out.
He is out?
Yeah. So if he's not on the plate, if he's not on any of the bases and you get hit by the ball on a hit, you're out.
But not if someone like throws it at you.
You can't throw it at people.
But if they get hit,
yeah,
that seems a little.
It's highly improbable, but it's a unique nuance to baseball that has always existed. So if you get hit by the ball and you're off the base, you're out if you're a base runner.
Which is weird because if the pitcher hits you with the ball, don't you get on a base?
Correct.
I guess it's like that's the defending team hitting you and the attacking team.
Yeah.
It's
So the batter will step up to the plate. The pitcher has 3 strikes and 4 balls to play with to try and get 3 strikes or to force them to hit it to their team to cause an out.
right.
Or cause 2 outs. Say if a man on first, there's a double play where you want him to hit it to the shortstop or the second baseman, however you're set up, to where you then throw it to second and throw it to first before either player is able to touch the base.
So you don't even need to tag the person. I know first base you have
Those
that.
are force outs.
The second base too also?
Second base becomes a force out if it's not a steal. If the ball's hit, because they are forced to vacate first base if the ball is hit and a player is obviously advancing to first.
So it would behoove the person on first to steal second so they're not forced out.
Correct.
Hey.
There's a benefit to stealing second base so that you have first base open so that no matter where the player at the plate hits the ball, you're not forced to run.
At what situation do you get where there's one person going between 2 bases and they're running back
Talking
and
about
forth?
the pickle?
Yeah. There's a name for it?
Yeah, you're stuck in a pickle.
Oh.
That happens on poor base running. So what ends up happening, a lot of times you see somebody who starts taking off to steal second base or steal third before the pitcher throws the ball. And if that happens and the person hasn't made the motion to first, they can step off the rubber and throw it to wherever they're going. And that player, it makes sense for them to be like, oh, I don't want to get out, so I'm going to turn around and run the other way. You get stuck in a pickle.
So what do?
So
You pull out your shiv. You split it in twain so you got one in each hand and you start crab walking left and right trying to stab anyone. Who's going to get who first? You with the ball or them with the shiv?
the idea is to force a mistake of them throwing the ball to another player either too early or too late. More often than not, if you get stuck in a pickle, you're going to get out.
You got to try to make them laugh. That's the real key. You bust out your book of jokes.
You just fart. You just rip one.
I'm sure they're used to it.
So that's a situation that can occur in baseball.
Can you reach down, pick up some dirt, and throw it in their eyes? Can you recruit one of your other players?
You can't run all the way into the outfield either.
Why not?
Because you have to stay within the baseline, otherwise you're out.
Can you ascend like a god as lightning strikes you from above, eyes glowing with ethereal energy, and cast bolts of lightning down to either player and then touch the base?
Be out.
Why?
Or you'd be thrown in jail because you're a murderer.
Who's gonna stop you? You're ascending, hovering 60 feet off the ground as ye mere mortals run and scream from your ominous power.
Spider-Man stopped Electro. I'm sure he could stop you.
It's not me.
Anyway, no. So back to real baseball.
Baseball, yes.
If you ever heard of, like, we were talking about double plays, and then you asked about the pickle. Have you ever heard of 6-4-3 double play?
Why would I have heard of that?
Okay, so anytime in baseball they'll talk numbers, each position has an assigned number based on who has the ball in most occurrence.
Okay.
So the pitcher is number 1.
Okay.
Catcher is number 2.
All right.
First base is number 3. Second base is number 4. Third base is number 5. Shortstop is number 6. Then the number 7 is left field. 8 is center field. 9 is right field.
Right field can just take a nap. They just
Not if you have a lefty at the plate.
flip the whole stadium.
In Major League Baseball, your best hitter and worst fielder generally plays left field, depending on your stadium. Right field is generally has to be a really good fielder because if a right-handed player hits the ball, it tends to curve a lot. So they have to be able to read the curve really well to play right field. Center field is your general of the outfield.
General?
Yes, they're in charge. If they say it's mine, they call off everybody.
Okay.
He is the guy. An equivalent is the quarterback of the outfield. He's usually one because he's able to see signals a lot easier into home plate. He's usually your more athletic and faster guy. He's generally the general of the outfield.
Does he have a microphone in his helmet?
No, nobody in baseball has a microphone in their
Does
helmet.
he have to snap the ball?
It's all
to him?
signals. No, there's no snapping.
Does he yell like blue 32 before?
No.
Then is he really the quarterback?
He's the guy who basically is the top dog. If he calls for the ball, he can call anyone off.
Okay.
So if he says it's mine, it's his.
All right.
Everybody has to abide by his word is law.
He's the one that ascends 60 feet off the ground, lightning from his ass. He's the one. I get it.
Yeah, sure. Your most athletic infielders tend to be your shortstops because they have to cover the most ground because a lot of times if the third baseman's fielding a ball, they have to cover third. If the second baseman's fielding a ball, they have to cover second. So they're running the most distance.
You'd think that everyone would be athletic.
They're all very athletic. Generally, your least quick, speedy are your first base and your third base because they're generally your better hitters and they don't have to cover as much ground, but they have to be quick twitch.
Okay.
So they have to dive and stuff really quickly because if the ball's hit straight down the line, those are the hardest hit balls in baseball are the
Okay.
ones that are hit straight down the line.
Why?
Because physics. When the bat comes around, and if you think about your body physiology, when you're coming around and turn with your hips, that's how you're getting your full muscle mass behind and having the highest bat speed. So when the ball hits that at the highest bat speed, it's going to bounce off at a higher velocity, and therefore it's shooting at a higher velocity towards those areas.
Oh, it's just a distance equation thing. It's the shortest distance to you, so you have the least time to react.
Correct.
Right. It's not because the lines are painted white and the ball is white, so you get confused.
No.
Right. Okay, I gotcha.
It's physics and distance.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So that's how that order is. 6-4-3 double play would be the shortstop gets the ball,
Shortstop,
throws it to the second baseman who's on second, and then he throws it to first who's covering first.
6-4-3
Double play.
double play. What's a triple play?
That's if you get 3 outs. It's very unlikely, but it can happen. There's a bunch of different combinations that can occur.
What's a hat trick?
And that's a hockey term.
Never mind. I retract my question.
It's a hockey term for if you score 3 goals
At once?
in one game.
Oh, I thought it's like one of those special moves where you hit it real hard, it splits into 3 and right into the goal. No. Counts as 3.
So baseball, you have your 9 players on each team. American League has the designated. I'm doing a recap.
Well, you're recapping too much. You
because I can't keep track of where I am because you're interrupting.
Players 9 times.
All right.
Next, you're going to tell me there's 9 innings.
There are 9 innings.
I know.
So a baseball roster is made up of 26 men on the active roster. You can have a 27th if you're playing a doubleheader. So if that's 2 games in one day.
Why would you do that?
Because you got to try and fit in 162 games.
You just said the game was long. Why would you do
They
2?
can be long. They can be quick. It's all predicated on how good the defense plays and how good the offense plays.
What are all these other sports doing playing 20 games?
Well, the thing about baseball that makes it unique is that you have a collection of so many different pitchers. You don't have one starting pitcher and you don't field the same 9 players every game. In basketball, you pretty much have the same starting 5. In football, you have the same starting 11. In baseball, you don't. A pitcher rotates. So they usually get 3 days rest at minimum. So you usually have 4 starting pitchers at least on a team in a rotation throughout the season. Because baseball games are played one day, then the next day, then the next day. They're played in a series of 3 against the same team. And so you have a different pitcher starting each of those games.
But is there a demand for that many games?
It's America's pastime. There is.
They always say that. I don't know. Is that true?
It is. It's America's pastime. It's used to be America's favorite sport before American football existed. All of those, American football is a newer sport compared to baseball. And baseball has always been one of the long-standing, truly uniquely United States game.
I don't even know what pastime means.
I just say it at this point. I don't even know.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone just says it. What does it mean? It's like a trademark slogan or something, you know?
Yeah.
But what does it mean? It's America's pastime. It's America's flabberdoodle. It's like, it's the same thing. You're just making stuff up.
Listen,
but
I
everyone
can't-
goes like, yeah, America's pastime. I remember that. I just don't know why they're a pirate, but
Yeah, America's pastimes. So
it's America's. What was that, Captain? America's. Oh, okay.
So on that 26-man roster, you're limited to 13 pitchers.
13 pitchers. Why do you have 13 pitchers?
Because you have your starting pitchers, you have your relief pitchers, you have your setup and your closing pitchers. And you're playing so many games in a row in baseball that you need that many because arms get tired, fatigue happens, and injuries happen.
13 pitchers?
That's the most you can have. Yeah.
And none of them have to hit.
Only in the American League. In National League, every game they play, they have to hit. They have to step
It's
up
like
and play.
the kicker in the special teams. Is there only one kicker?
Well,
in
there's a
football?
kicker and punter in football. They're two different people.
Oh, come on now.
No, they are.
Come on now. No,
Yeah, because your punter is usually holding for the field goal kick in football. Yeah, and the reason they do that is because those two players generally go off on their own in practice, and that way they can practice without them and the long snapper. They can practice while the rest of the other team practices their stuff. Anyway, back to baseball.
Yeah, back to baseball. Okay.
Major League Baseball rosters are 26 men, limited to 13 pitchers. Everything else is basically whatever you need. So you want to have multiple infielders, utility infielders that can play multiple positions, not just first base, second base, whatever. And then you have multiple outfielders. And the reason for that is fatigue, injuries, all of the above.
Okay. And that's baseball?
For the most part, that's how the rosters work.
Is it summary time?
Yeah, okay.
All right. So the lights go out. Suddenly, the pitcher's mound opens up, and I ascend, levitating 60 feet off the ground, lightning shooting from my fingertips. And I summon the raining hailstorm of balls to come down. They embed themselves in the ground, and from them sprouts the team of players. A new... He's giving me a look, and I don't like the look he's giving me, guys. I think I'm in trouble.
Keep going.
And then they sprout 13 pitchers, boom, burst forth from the earth, and they go to their designated pitcher's pen.
Bullpen.
Bullpen. And then the other scuzz players who no one cares about just randomly go to their bases, of which there are 5. One secret hidden beneath the earth of the pitcher's mound. There's a left field, a center field, a right field, and then first, second, third base, catcher, pitcher, and the shortest man bees the stop.
It's just Ethan over there.
Hey, Ethan's perfectly reasonable height. As someone who is only an inch taller than Ethan, Ethan is a very reasonable
Wait,
height.
is Ethan taller than Jack, than Sean?
No. It's like the difference of half an inch. It's like Ethan, then half an inch Sean, and then half an inch taller than that is me. So and none of us are short. So you shut up. You shut up. You shut up. I'm explaining baseball. Don't interrupt me. Randomly, people from the audience are selected to be umpires. And they don their umpire garb.
That's not how umpires are chosen. That's a job. People are actually umpires.
Don't
their job.
lie to the people listening at home. I'm zapping you with that lightning. We'll put in sound effects of this. All right, let me give a real summary. So you have 2 teams.
Yeah.
26 players. 27 if they're doing a double game, which sounds like not enough to add for another game in a day
On each team.
on each team.
Yep.
27 each team. 13 of them could be pitchers. They could
Correct.
have less than 13 pitchers. Do they almost always have 13 pitchers?
Generally, most teams like to keep the max amount of pitchers just because of injuries and fatigue and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. You have 4 bases. The mythical 5th base doesn't exist, but it could. It's called the rubber on the pitcher's mound. 3 people in the outfield, left, center, right, first, second, third base, shortstop, pitcher, catcher, and then 1 hitter from the other team per go, I guess. Per out, they call
Per
it?
out. Yeah.
Okay. Do they do a coin flip?
No, it's based on who's home, who's away. So whoever's hosting is defending the top half and batting the bottom half.
Right. There's 9
the
innings. There's a top half, bottom half for which team is going. They go once per inning. They stretch in the 7th inning. Do the players stretch too? Does everybody stretch?
It's just an audience thing.
Do you have to stretch?
No.
If you don't stretch, are you taken out back and shot?
No, they usually just saying take me out to the ball
Or
game.
you put in the stretcher and they crank the big
No.
wheel and you get stretched out?
It's just a little bit of a longer time between the top half and the bottom half of the inning.
Okay.
To where the audience is able to like get food and snacks and
All
stuff
right.
like that. It's really a marketing ploy for ballpark sales.
Excellent. Love that. So the pitcher has the ball. He pitches it, throws it towards home plate.
Yep.
Batter tries to swing it. Strike zone. Nips to knees. And the umpire is sole discretion of what the strike zone is.
Correct.
Home plate width, nip
Home plate
knee
width.
height.
Yep.
Catcher must catch. Ball outside, strike inside if swing and no hit.
Correct.
Or if no swing, still go in strike zone, strike. If he hit outfield, it's foul.
Outside of the foul lines.
Yeah, out of the foul lines is foul. If he hits and it goes up in the air and someone catches it, they're out.
Yep.
If it hit, go hit the ground. He runs to first base, but the ball gets there before him. He out. If he gets there before the ball does, he's good.
Yep.
Second batter comes up. Wham. Ground, but catch. Second base first, ball go. Then first before either of them get there. Double
Play. Yep.
2 outs.
Correct.
Could be triple play.
There
Could be-
have been triple plays.
Okay,
in the
there
history
have
of
been
baseball.
triple plays. Has there been a quadruple play?
No, because you only need 3 outs to end the inning. Why would you need to get a 4th?
Just to say you did it.
No, there
What's
has never
stopping
been.
them? There's never been a quadruple play.
No,
Someone should do it.
because there's 3 outs. You don't get 4 outs.
But I could see a situation where there's 4 people going, right? If the bases are
probably.
loaded, you get them out at home, third, second. Why wouldn't you close it? Why wouldn't you just try?
Considering how hard it is to get a triple play, the statistical feasibility of that is minuscule.
It could happen. Anyway, not important. 3 outs. 4 balls. You walk. If you get hit, you walk. If you hit it and hit your own team, they are out.
Yep, but you're still in play.
You're still in play. 3 outs. You switch innings. No, you go bottom.
Correct.
You switch top and bottom.
Switch offense, defense.
Offense, defense. They change out. You only can score if you get all the way around back to home plate.
Yep.
You could have a home run outside the stadium. You could have an in-stadium home run if you hit it and you get all the way around before they get it back to you. And
To designate any player that touches home plate is considered a run.
right.
So like if the person in front of you hit a double and then you hit a single and they made it to home, that's a run.
And that's baseball.
Yeah.
Is there something else? You're looking at me like there's something I'm missing.
I mean, I can get into the nuances of the catcher designating which pitch. So a big nuance in baseball is signals. Catcher signals the pitcher what pitch he wants to do. So if he puts down one finger, that's generally fastball. He'll tap like one side of his leg and stuff like that to like inside, outside, down. Like there's a bunch of weird different things they do to signal that.
Why does the catcher get to call that?
It's because the catcher generally knows the lineup really well. The catcher can get signals from the bench, from the manager easier than the pitcher can.
Right.
So the catcher signals to the pitcher what pitch he wants, and the pitcher has the ability to say, no, I don't want to throw that pitch. So if you see a pitcher shaking his head no, that means he's like, no, give me another signal.
Because they have to agree.
Correct.
So the catcher knows where the ball is going because he has to know.
So that he can set up in the right spot and be able to defend so the ball doesn't get past him, especially if a player's on base, because if it gets past him, then they can just run free and steal bases.
Right. Okay.
And so they work together to strategize what pitch and what location to throw it to try and best get either the batter to swing and miss or to hit the strike zone and have the batter not hit the ball, period, and get strikes and just get them out. There's also situational playing where they want to pitch it to a certain area so that the batter hits the ball to a particular part of the field to set up for double plays. They also will pitch certain ways to try and get a ground ball versus a line drive versus a fly ball, depending on what they're looking for best opportunity for an out.
Oh.
There's a lot of strategic nuance between the pitcher and the catcher.
I thought
as
you
well
just
as the infield.
throw and try to hit.
No,
I mean-
there's like curveballs, there's changeups, there's knuckleballs, there's 2 different types of fastballs, there's a cutter,
There's 2 different types of fastball?
there's a 2-seam and a 4-seam fastball.
What does that mean?
It's all based on how you grip the ball,
What does
whether
it
you
do?
whether you touch 2 seams or 4 seams.
What does it do?
They just have different movement.
I thought fastball was just straight.
It's the straightest pitch you throw, but they have different nuances of movement and how they work.
Which one's the one that's like the ball.
The knuckleball, where it's just
Why does it do that?
because it doesn't have any spin on it.
How do you throw something with no spin?
It's like shot put. The knuckleball is an extremely difficult ball to throw, but the idea is to get as little spin on the ball as possible.
Huh.
A curveball has a specific spin on it to where it will cause the friction of the air
Right.
to curve. A slider is a curveball that also drops.
What?
A sinker is a ball that just drops.
How-
There's a floater as well as that like goes up. It's not really called a floater. It's called a rising fastball. It's all about the spin.
Magic?
It's all about how you spin the ball.
Okay, why do I've heard of players like or pitchers having like Vaseline under their hat? What does that do?
So if you mess with the ball's surface, you are able to create different levels of aerodynamics to where you can get a greater cut of the ball. So based on how you spin it as well as the friction of the ball, that was something they would do is like rub a ball to the point to where it's rougher. It catches more air that way. So then it's able to cut and curve more.
Okay, can you spit on it?
No,
Can you pee on it?
no,
Can you shit on it?
no.
What if you throw it and then blow air behind it as it's going to give it more speed?
You can do that, but it won't work.
What if you throw it and then flap your arms towards it?
You can do it, but it won't work.
What if you throw it and put a leaf blower behind it? And poof?
That might work depending on the power of the leaf blower.
Okay,
but
cool.
You won't have a leaf blower on the field
Why not?
because that's illegal.
We should make it legal.
No,
Okay, what if you kick it?
no.
Why not?
It's not going to count as a pitch. You have
Your
to throw
leg's
it.
stronger than your arm. What if you had a surgery that put your leg where your arm is?
Probably not ethical surgery.
What if you put it in your mouth and then
Illegal. You have to throw it.
what if you granny shot it?
Not clear.
What if you volleyball serve it, like throw it up with one hand and smack it with the other?
Unclear. Does not compute.
Yeah, I was just about to say you're like a computer right now. You just can't process my stupidity at the moment. Is it true that pitchers' right arms, if they're right arm dominant, is longer than their left?
I don't know if it's like, I mean, as human beings, proportionality, we have minuscule differences between length
No,
and
but I
stuff
mean
like that.
from throwing. I
I
don't
wouldn't
know
be
if it's
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some level of that to it because of how much it's like just pulling and how much you work at it. But more often than not, they're going to be proportional from working out. Like there's distinctions and movements on how to throw. There's different ways to throw.
Yeah.
There's a 3/4 release. There's an overhead release. There's a submarine throw. There's all kinds of different ways to
Do
do
you
stuff.
think if I was put in like a turbine with my arms out straight to my sides and spun really fast and they put me in there for long enough, my limbs might grow longer?
I don't think they would grow. You might get parts of your body pulled further out of their sockets.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a stretch over time. This is a thing. It's like putting gauges in your ears, right?
Yeah, that doesn't work the same with bones.
What do you know? Can you say that for a fact?
I can't say it for a fact.
Yeah, might as well be true then. All right, sorry, baseball.
We pretty much covered it.
Oh, okay, all right, good.
Will, good luck with cutting that down.
Yeah,
because
Will.
it went all over the place.
Just like a knuckleball would if you threw it real good. What if you rub dirt on it?
You can't do that.
How do they know?
They pay attention to that stuff. I mean, there's a level in which some players will do that and cover the whole ball in it. Like beforehand, they like a dirtier ball. But more often than not, the craziest thing is if the ball hits the dirt, they switch out that ball.
Oh, because it would be rougher.
Yeah, Major League Baseball goes through so many balls per game because if that ball hits the turf or does something different, they switch it. They give them a new one.
It might grow a player because as soon as it touches dirt, it starts sprouting.
You're right. It might grow a player. No, it might be scuffed to the point to where it have more cut and spin.
What if the catcher's mitt, when it hits it, it was like a little pump action and it squirted some lube on it, and when he threw it back, it was all lubey.
I mean, the umpires touch that ball enough and players touch that ball enough, they'd notice.
It's just a particularly lubey day.
Well, there's been numerous nuances because that was a big thing this last season was how many pitchers got ejected and fined and all this other stuff because they were thought to be tampering with the ball, which is very prominent apparently. And the thing is, how can you really tell? Because like it could literally be they're just sweating.
Yeah, it could be, I guess.
Or they're just rubbing the ball as they're like putting it in their mitt. Like there's a certain level where you have to just be like, you got to just let them play.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because that makes total sense. Like, you're holding with your hand. Your hand's going to sweat. It's hot out. Your hand's touching dirt, whatever. At the end of the day, it's just a ball.
Well, the biggest reason is pine tar.
Pine tar?
So they use pine tar with the wooden bats to have a grip.
Oh.
So the biggest thing is that pine tar, if you've ever dealt with pine tar, does not come off easily. And it's not like they wash hands between every inning.
Right.
So if that pitcher just bat, he probably has pine tar in his hand unintentionally. And the thing is, they did, there's a recent sports science thing that just pine tar in of itself, you can change the ball. You just rub it combined with sweat and stuff, your hand is sticky and it's going to affect how you throw the ball. And that stickiness is going to rub off on the ball. And when something sticky is on the ball, it creates that, again, friction through the air to where it's going to have more cut. But it's unavoidable. If you're allowing pine tar for batting, it's going to get on pitchers' hands, especially in the National League where pitchers have to hit. So the only way to solve that is to remove pine tar from the game. But then there's plenty of players that'll complain about that because they lose their ability to have a stronger grip on the bat. But I mean, as technology goes, like, we don't really need pine tar anymore. But there's a level of, like, it's a traditional thing.
It's a tradition, yeah.
So many people are used to it that you can't help it.
Do you think that the legend of the fifth base is kind of like the sword in the stone? And if the right person stands on the rubber, they will
ascend 60 feet into the air with lightning shooting out of their eyes, the power of the gods coursing through them, eternal youth, and more.
And with that, we're going to end this Baseball Primer episode as Mark continues to fascinate himself with a hidden fifth base that does not exist.
It's real. The fifth base and the fourth quadruple play is real.
Anyway, go and check out Mark over on his YouTube channel. Check me out on wherever I am on social media. I'm Tyler, Apocalypto_12. And make sure and follow and subscribe to this podcast anywhere and everywhere you listen to it, including the YouTube channel if it's up by now. We'll figure that out eventually.
Yeah, in case you didn't pick it up from that, we are making that.
Yes. Mark, any last words other than the fifth base?
Just thank you all so much for your support and believing in me and the fifth base. The truth is out there. Yeah, I wish you the best in your search.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about baseball. It's really a simple game, so it's not.
We thought this was going to be a short episode.
Yeah, and then it really ran on and on.
Anyway, thank you for listening. I guess we're done here.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
Go find that fifth base. Good luck.
Please don't destroy baseball fields everywhere.
You'll know when you find it because you will
ascend 60 feet into the air. Lightning will course you from head to toe, nips to knees. The strike zone will be illuminated on your chest. All will cower before the power.
Tyler's gonna kill me.
All right, bye.